Hey everybody, it's Katie. Happy Monday to you. I am here with another Live and Learn, and today we have our favorite friend, Lora Fiala, our favorite childbirth and pregnancy friend, I should say, here with us today. Say hello to the crowd, Lora.
Hello.
Lora is with Birth with Knowledge, and I know she's a doula, but what else do you do, Lora?
I am also a childbirth educator. I teach evidence-based birth classes, and I'm a mom to two little kiddos.
Awesome. So you should know a thing or two about this topic then.
Just a touch.
So obviously the world is kind of crazy right now, and we're dealing with a lot of stuff and a lot of shutdowns and things, hospitals and things like that. There's a lot of, I guess, probably fear out there. And what if you find yourself pregnant in all this mess?
Well, I mean, if you're pregnant in all this mess, the first thing would be just to do what we all should be doing and stay home. Right?
Yeah.
Like when you're pregnant, you are more susceptible to getting sickness. Like it's what makes it, our immune system, it doesn't work at full capacity. That's what makes it so that we can carry babies.
Right.
So our body doesn't attack the foreign thing living inside of us.
Right.
Right. So, do the things that it's been floating around. Wash your hands, stay home, take extra precautions when you're going out in public. It's not doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. So.
Right. And it sounds to me like it's not totally the end of the world either, because, I've heard from a couple of people that being pregnant, you're going to get the virus. Oh my gosh. But there's all these scare tactics out there. It doesn't mean you're going to get the virus, but like Lora said, you may be a little bit more susceptible because it's an immune system thing.
Yeah. And thankfully, some of the research that's coming out is that just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you're going to get some crazy exponentially worse strain, or it's not going to hit your body crazy worse than anybody else. We're still trying to figure out why and how it hits certain people certain ways, right? But unlike some of the other coronaviruses in the past that have really affected pregnancy and mortality with pregnant people and with newborns, this particular strain does not seem to be doing that, which is a really good sign and a really good thing.
Yeah, for sure. So if we're pregnant, we should be staying home as much as we can, following all of the rules for washing hands and, protecting ourselves and that kind of thing. But what about learning how to, now we can't go out and get our childbirth classes. Now, we don't have our support system, our doula. What's going on with all of that?
Right. So that's the tough part about all of this is the hospitals in Arizona right now are all down to one support person. Well, I guess I should say Phoenix Metro. I haven't been watching the rest of the state too closely, but at least in the Phoenix Metro, we're all down to one hospital, which a lot of places around the country are the same way. There are still some pockets that are allowing an additional support person. There are some places that have gone down to no support people. Which is crazy.
Wow. So not even your spouse or partner can be in there for the birth of your child.
Yeah. New York did that, and thank the Lord that their health department decided to come back and they had a policy in place that no extra visitors should be in the hospitals, but they did say, along the lines of if it's an extenuating circumstance, they can make exceptions. But some hospitals took that as labor was not one of those circumstances and banned all visitors. So we had moms that were having babies by themselves.
Wow.
So unthinkable. And they came back, their governor came back and re-evaluated that statement and put an amendment in saying that all laboring people should have one support person. And then they did some additional things for pediatrics as well. But yeah, so hopefully that kind of put the stand out there that it's in writing from one of the biggest states that has the biggest outbreak right now. That'll then cross the country, that we won't be in that situation, but there is still a possibility at some point we may be to the point where there's no partners allowed. And I know that we have amazing nurses and amazing doctors, but it's so different when they can't be there continuously. They have other patients, they have charting, they have other responsibilities. They can't be in the room full time with the patient, with the person that is trying to have a baby. And you really need some continuous support when you're having that baby.
Right, 100%. So what should our pregnant mamas, like what's available out there for them if they're wanting to stay home as much as possible to still make pregnancy a cool experience and to still get the knowledge and experience that they need so that birthing is also a cool experience?
Yeah, so there's definitely classes out there that have gone all virtual. The class I teach is from Evidence-Based Birth, and they have been able to transform this class into totally online. The cool thing is that we were already 2/3 of the way there. So we had 4 of our 6 classes online already. So the ladies over there took the time to make our first and our last class now online as well. So you can take this from any instructor across the country. Doesn't matter if they're close to you or far from you. We've now opened it up to get into the class that's right for your due date. We want to make sure that even if you are only a few weeks out from having a baby, that you still have enough time to get a class in.
Awesome. And so in your opinion, these virtual classes are just as helpful as being in person, basically?
Yeah, they really are. We have videos that are professionally done, and so you can replay them over and over, especially on those comfort measures. That's the only piece that's missing, and I still wish I could get in there and show you hands-on how to hip squeeze your partner. But they are. We're making do with the best we can. And I just did a class on Friday night, and I'm watching all of the partners. And they're working through doing hip squeezes, they're asking questions, they're readjusting, and you can just see on mom's face that they're getting it. Their partners are understanding how to do this, and they are more comfortable in pregnancy. So that's going to translate well for when they're having their baby.
Yeah, 100%. That is so big right there. So we're having all this trouble in hospitals, which we just spoke about a couple of minutes ago. Are there alternatives to hospital birthing? I mean, I know the answer is yes, but why don't you give us some details?
Yes, 100%. If you are low risk, you can have a baby outside of the hospital. And some people think that just because they have gestational diabetes or they tested positive for group B strep, that's going to risk them out of being an out-of-hospital birth, and it's not. It's something if you are in the low risk or close to the low risk category in any way, shape, or form and have any interest, I would highly recommend reaching out. I'm more than happy to talk you through things. I can give you names of people that are still accepting clients. But we have a wonderful resource. We have wonderful resources here, especially in the Phoenix area, of out-of-hospital options. We have multiple birth centers. We have a ton of home birth midwives. And it's really not as scary as it sounds to have a baby out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. We have other options that may not be available in the hospital. So you can get in the tub, which is a huge thing, and you don't have to get out.
Right, right.
That was the biggest reason I had my first baby in the hospital, and getting out of the tub at 10 centimeters dilated and pushing was not fun.
Yeah, I bet.
So to be able to stay in the tub the whole time, and this isn't like your bathtub at home. These are like tubs that like come up past your boobs, and like you can really, really sink in. And it takes a lot of that pressure, and it lessens the sensation of those contractions, and it makes it a lot easier to get through them. Mm-hmm. So no, you can't have your epidural if you're out of the hospital. But with the right support and the right education, you totally don't need one. And you can 100% have a safe and enjoyable experience out of the hospital.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the mamas that maybe just are bringing their babies home, or, are birthing maybe right now, and they have concern about postpartum care for themselves, caring for the baby. I mean, this is a time when all hands on deck, right? I mean, like family members pitch in, and all this stuff is what usually happens. That might not happen now.
No, it's hard. It's rough. This is a time where we really need extra support. So I've been encouraging clients to really think about where and how they're going to handle their postpartum. I think in some way, shape, or form, this may be good for us because it's going to actually force moms to stay home and rest.
Yeah.
But in another way, who's going to make dinner? Who's going to go to the grocery store? Who's going to make sure there's some clean laundry? Those things are things that, laundry doesn't need to be folded and put away, but babies poop a lot and it gets all over things, right? So,
Yes.
so
yeah, when they're little, like I remember that it like seeps out of the sides of the,
right.
We don't have to get into it anyway.
Yeah, right. It's just sticky. Like it's just, we need laundry done, at least to some extent. So making plans on who's going to do that. So does that mean that your partner is going to be able to take some extra time and be home longer? Does that mean that your parents or your, mom's mom has been isolating and staying home and now maybe is going to come move in for a few weeks? Like, how does that look? Does that mean that your family's ordering you DoorDash so that you have food at your door and you don't have to worry about stuff? Mm-hmm. Just because they can't come and enjoy the meal with you doesn't mean they can't drop it off at your front door and make sure that you have something available. Even if they're across the country, they can totally send you gift cards. Think about ways outside the box that might be able to happen, that we can still support our mamas that without actually going in and giving them that hands-on support.
Right.
So it's a little different, but it's still there.
It's all about creativity right now. And I mean, I'm so thankful that we have the technology that we do. So these moms can connect with the family members they can't actually see. They can get answers to their questions. I'm so thankful that we have things like DoorDash and, there may be other, we're a pretty big city here in Phoenix. And so I'm sure that there are other areas of the country that don't have that. So, I consider us to be pretty lucky here.
We are. And I will say that there are lots of people that you can reach out to that have virtual services. Some of our postpartum doulas are offering virtual services. Some are still coming into your home. They've been real careful about who they've been around and are only taking 1 or 2 families at a time to limit exposure. We also have some wonderful lactation consultants that are offering virtual support. So if you're having trouble breastfeeding, you don't have to suffer at home alone. Reach out. There are people out there that are still able and willing and wanting to help. And you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
That's awesome. Lora, thank you so much for all of your info. You're amazing.
Oh, thanks, Katie.
You're welcome. How can our audience get in touch with you if they would like to pick your brain further or perhaps inquire about your services?
Yeah, so I'm more than happy to chat. I've had lots of conversations lately, especially with those mamas that are considering not birthing in the hospital. But you can reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, I'm Birth with Knowledge. Or you are more than welcome to send me messages on my personal page, which is Lora, which is spelled a little different. It's Lora, and then Fiala.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Katie, for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.